Welcome back. In previous videos, we had a high-level look at HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Today, we're going to be using freeCodeCamp to dig into the details of HTML. We're doing the responsive web design certification. Let's begin with this first exercise. So the way freeCodeCamp works is that there's essentially three panels. You get the information on the left-hand side, and in the middle is where you type your code, and then on the right-hand side is where we can see the results of the code we write. For instance, if I had to add here 1, 2, 3, we can see that the results have changed. So the right-hand side is what a user would see if they were using your website. In the middle here is the code you would write in something like VS Code. And on the left-hand side here is the information that freeCodeCamp is providing with the challenge explained within it. So here we go. This first exercise we can read here, and we can see that you will start by building a simple web page using HTML. You can edit the code in your code editor, which is embedded into this page, which is this area in the middle. And they explain that most HTML elements have an opening tag and closing tag. The opening tag in this case is a header tag called h1, and then the closing tag has got the same name as the opening tag, h1. The only difference is that there's a little / before the name of the tag. Okay, and now we see the challenge we need to do. To pass the test on this challenge, your h1 elements text needs to say hello world. So we can come in here and we can change this from being hello to hello world. And there we go. So if we had a web page with only this in it, when it rendered in the browser, the user would see hello world. And let's check if we did that properly. There we go. We did that as expected. And there we go, we can see the crowd goes wild because we did the challenge successfully. And go to the next challenge. This looks very similar, just has to do with an h2 element. In this step, we'll add a level 2 heading to a web page. I guess h1 is what they refer to as level 1 and h2 is level 2. This element tells the browser about the structure of your website. h1 elements are often used for main headings, while h2 elements are generally used for subheadings. There are also h3, 4, 5, and 6 elements to indicate different levels of subheadings. Typically on a page you should only have one h1 element, and you can have as many h2 and h3 elements as what makes sense. It's just h1 that's a bit special. Every page should just have one main title. So they're saying here, add an h2 tag that says cat photo app to create a second HTML element below your hello world h1 element. Okie dokie. So we can come in here, type h2. It's a good idea whenever you open an HTML tag to just close it off as well. This can prevent a lot of confusion and headache as the document grows. So inside here is where we need to write cat photo app, and it automatically updates on the right hand side. So I think that's all what we needed. Let's run the tests. There we go. Submit and go to the next challenge. So this one is about the paragraph element. P elements are the preferred element for paragraph text on websites. So whenever you have a bit of text, it's most likely that you want to wrap that in a paragraph tag. P is short for paragraph. You can create your own paragraph tag like this. The name of the tag is P, so you have the opening tag and a closing tag with just P as the name of the tag. So the challenge is to create a P element below your h2 element and give it the text of hello paragraph. So if I come here, open tag, closing tag, and if I come in here and type, they want us to type hello paragraph. There we go. And you can see the styling here shows this font in the largest text because it's the first header, and here we have the second header, and here we have the paragraph tag again. If I copy this, we will see you can put another header below the paragraph if you really wanted to. But I think we've done what was required, so let's just check if we've done this one. Great, all done. Submit and go to the next challenge. Fill in the blank with placeholder text. Let's see what it has to say here. Web developers traditionally use Lorem Ipsum text as placeholder text. The Lorem Ipsum text is randomly scraped from a famous passage by Cicero of ancient Rome. Okay, I've seen Lorem Ipsum before, but I didn't realize it came from this specific person. So Lorem Ipsum text has been used as placeholder text by typesetters since the 16th century, and this tradition has continued on the web. So it's essentially just random text that you use for when you want to show what a website will look like while you're still in progress. Since we're building a cat photo app, let's use something called Kitty Ipsum. So they've tweaked Lorem Ipsum a little bit, and we're calling it Kitty Ipsum. So here we have just some random text related to cats, I guess, and what they want us to do is to use this text in the paragraph tag. So if I copy that and just paste it in here where we used to have hello paragraph. So if I paste that in there, now you can see we have an actual paragraph here, or well, it's just a long sentence, but you get the idea. And if I say run all the tests, bingo, we've done it. Submit and go to the next challenge. Uncomment HTML. Commenting is a way that you can leave comments for other developers within your code without affecting the resulting output that is displayed to the end user. What they're saying is you can use this notation here to indicate that everything between there and this dash angle bracket, everything in here is a comment. So we can actually type whatever we want here and the user won't see it. It's only when we type outside of there that this will actually affect what the user sees. But if I turn this into a comment, that's sort of the start of the comment, and over here we close off the comment, and now the user can't see that. And again, if I had to type some HTML here, now we can see the results of this being rendered, but everything that is marked as a comment we won't be able to see. And the reason we do that, as it explains on the left-hand side here, is that sometimes you've done something kind of complicated or something quite different. You can leave a comment so that other developers know why you've done it that way. And sometimes you're just reminding yourself, you're being kind to your future self, where you can see an explanation of why you did something the way you did it. So what they're saying here, comments in HTML start with a angle bracket, the exclamation mark, hyphen, hyphen, and end with hyphen, hyphen with the angle bracket. And they're saying the job here is to uncomment your HTML tags. So what I'm going to do here is just say reset all code, just to get back to how they started. And all they want us to do is to uncomment this code. So I can get rid of this and get rid of that. And I'm not sure how they've implemented the checks here, but this won't, putting new line characters like this won't affect what's being displayed here. HTML pretty much ignores these new line characters. Let's check if I've done that. Yep, so they've implemented this quite well. It can see that we still completed the challenge because the user will still see the same thing. Submit and go to the next challenge. Okie dokie. Comment out HTML, remember that in order to start a comment, you need to use what's known as syntax. These characters make up part of the language of HTML, so that's coding syntax or grammar. And to end a comment, you need to use the -- angle bracket. Here you will need to end the comment before your H2 element begins. Right, so comment out your H1 element and your P element, but not the H2 element. Okay, so they want this to be rendered to the user, but not that, and not the kitty Ipsum, this paragraph here. So I need to come here and end off the comment with -- angle bracket, and now you can see the rest of this is back in play, being rendered again. So here I can start another comment like that, and you can see now that only the H2 element is being rendered. And this editor highlights your comments in green, which helps us while we're developing. We can see that we're on track pretty much. It's a visual indication that this is a comment while this is not. Let's check if we've done this properly. Moon prism power. Apparently we did it right. Let's go to the next one. Our phone doesn't have much vertical space. Let's remove the unnecessary elements so we can start building our cat photo app. Delete your H1 element so we can simplify our view. Okie dokie, so apparently this top title is not really part of the thing we were trying to build, so we can ditch that by simply deleting this code. Typically you would probably, maybe we're going to do this soon, where we will change this from an H2 to an H1 element, because typically if you've only got one header on the page, it makes sense to make that the H1 element, meaning it's the primary header. H1 is seen as more important than H2, and H2 is seen as more important than H3, and it carries on all the way down till H6. I don't know what you're meant to do if you have more than 6 levels of headers. Maybe it's just considered as overkill. Anyways, let's see what's next. So run the tests. There you go. Grumpy Cat proves it. Next challenge. Introduction to HTML5 elements. HTML5 introduces more descriptive HTML tags. These include main header, footer, nav, video, article, section, and others. So now we're getting into some, I guess, more interesting tags, especially when we cover the video one. That should be quite interesting. These tags give a descriptive structure to your HTML. They make your HTML easier to read and help with search engine optimization, SEO, essentially Google or Bing or whichever one you use. DuckDuckGo, yeah. The main HTML5 tag helps search engines and other developers find the main content of your page. Example, main. So now they're talking about the main tag. This element has 2 elements inside of it, which is the H1 and another paragraph. This is very similar to what we did in our HTML overview video. Many of the HTML5 tags and their benefits are covered in the applied accessibility section. So we'll see why it's a good idea to give your elements these tags. Like why is it a good idea to use a paragraph tag to indicate paragraphs, and some of these more specific ones such as article and section. So we're going to learn more about how to use those and when to use them in the applied accessibility section. Okay, so here's the challenge. Create a second paragraph element after the existing paragraph element with the following kitty Ipsum text. Okay, so this is just random text that we need to copy, and they want us to add a second paragraph tag. So here we have that H2 element, one paragraph element, and they want a second paragraph element here. It's possible to stick it on the end there, but to make it easier for us to read as developers, we would normally stick it directly underneath this one or leave a line, whichever you prefer. There we go. And we don't forget the closing tag. Here we go. We can see we have the two paragraphs. Create a main element, and there's two paragraph elements inside the main element. Okay, so we still need to do that. And they have said put the two paragraph tags in. They didn't say put the h2 element in. So I'll just stick the two paragraph tags in. Create the main element and nest the two paragraph elements inside the main element, which just means we need the opening main element here and the closing one after the two paragraph elements. Now the two paragraph elements are nested inside the main one. You could also say that main is the parent of this paragraph tag and this paragraph tag, and these two paragraph tags are siblings to each other. And typically what we would do is indent these a bit. Yeah, it doesn't show it so nicely in this editor, but usually you would want to indent them, which means just leave a bit of a tab here, so you can visually see that this is a child of its parent. There we go, and let's see if we've done this right. Hey yo, done. Okie dokie, submit and go to the next challenge. Add images to your website. Yep, now we're going to see some more visually interesting elements happening here because we're going to introduce an image, probably a cat. So you can add images to your website by using the img element, short for image. Point to a specific image's URL using the source attribute. So this is the first time we are using attributes. Previously we've just seen that the HTML element has an opening tag, a closing tag, and then content in the middle. But some tags are a bit more sophisticated, a bit more complex. So what they need is attributes to provide them with extra information so that they can work as expected. So the image tag is one of these, which has a source attribute, src, and this attribute, you give it a URL to an image, and then this tag will render that image within it. Note that the image elements are self-closing. That's another thing special about the image element, is that there is no closing tag for it. I guess it's because you don't typically give it a content section. So the whole thing is wrapped up in the one tag. So there's a few special elements in HTML that don't have a closing tag. The image element is one of those cases. With these special elements, they're known as self-closing. All image elements must have an alt attribute. The text inside the alt attribute is used for screen readers to improve accessibility and is displayed if the image fails to load. Accessibility is for people who may have difficulty seeing or be colorblind or anything like that, and by using certain attributes like this alt tag is that we can help make web pages more accessible to people who have certain difficulties. Note the image is purely decorative. Using an empty alt attribute is the best practice. Okay, so what they're saying is that if the image is not really related to the content, maybe you've just got something that sits in the top right to just make the page look a bit more attractive. In that case, the alt attribute should just be empty. Ideally, the alt attribute should not contain special characters unless needed. Special characters are like the @ and exclamation, $, £, etc. So let's add an alt attribute to our image example above. So the first example they gave was this, where we saw there was a src attribute, the source attribute, which gave the location of the image to be rendered. We have that repeated down here. Well, it's a different image. Is it? No, same image. But the alt tag has been added, or the alt attribute. And what they're saying here is that it is a business cat wearing a necktie. business cat doing business things. So let's try to add an image to our website. Within the existing main element, insert an image element before the existing P elements. Now set the src at, okay, let's just do it one step at a time. Within the existing main element, insert an image element before the existing P. Okay, so I guess that's what they've left this little space here for. So before the existing P tag, we can come in here and insert a img tag. And we'll just close it off for now. Now set the source attribute, src equals, and don't forget the double quotes. You can use double quotes or single quotes. I think they're using double quotes in these examples, so I'll stick to that. And I will just copy paste this. So that is the, yep, there we can see the cat there. Also, I can just paste that directly into the browser and we will see that's the image there. So what we've done here is put the URL to the image there, and now we can see an image being rendered here. Finally, don't forget to give your image element an alt attribute with the applicable text. So I will just call it a relaxing cat, because that's it. That seems to be what this is all about. So alt, and again we need to use the double quote or single quotes, up to you, with the applicable text, and I'll just say a relaxing cat. So now if a screen reader had to come in here, so screen readers are read by people who are visually impaired, and that would come in here and it would probably skip this URL. It'll know that this area of the website is an image, and it will say there is an image of a relaxing cat. There we go. So let's check. Yep, bingo bango, we did it. Let's do one last one. Link to an external page with anchor elements. You can use a tag, which A is short for anchor. So you can use a element to link to content outside of your web page. This is an example where we can see essentially a hyperlink where you click it and you can navigate to pretty much anywhere else on the internet. A element needs a destination web address called href. That's the reference where we want the person to be navigated to once they click on the link. They also need anchor tag text. The anchor tag text is what a user will see, and the href is where they will go once they click on it. So here we go. In this case, the user would see this links to freeCodeCamp.org. This would typically get that blue underline. Where they would go is here, which is https freecodecamp.org. Okie dokie. When your browser will display the text, this links to freecodecamp.org. As a link, you can click and it will take you to the web address. Create an A element which links to freecatphotoapp.com and has cat photos as an anchor text. Okay, fine. They don't really say where they want this. Guessing it's at the end or maybe here. I'm not sure if I left these spaces here or not. But let's come here and add it to the bottom. Why not? So we start off the opening tag and let's throw in the closing tag already. The location we want to get to is the href attribute. The location we want the user to navigate to, we put in here, and that should be freecatphotoapp.com. Here we go. And the content that we want the user to see should go here, and create an layout. Cat photos should be the content. So I can pop this in where it's similar to a paragraph tag. This is where the content goes, and you can see there, and as I change this, it'll change down there. If this was just a paragraph tag, it would not show with the blue underline because that's not a link, but given that it is a link, it shows with the blue underline. And if I just hold down Shift or Command when you click on this so that it opens it in a new tab. There we go. And we can see here, this is where freeCodeCamp have brought us to see cat photos. One thing you can also do here is say target equals underscore blank. And this is just a way of making it so that when the user clicks on this, it opens it in a new tab. This attribute tells the browser that when the user clicks on the link, it should open this location in a new tab or a new window, depending on what you're using. These days, it will typically be a new tab within the browser. I'm sure that we'll cover this again later in freeCodeCamp. So I'll just remove that for now. Let's run all the tests and see if we've done what's expected here. Heyo, to the Batmobile. Okay, so we've done 36% of this basic HTML and HTML5 course, and I think that is enough for one day, so we'll leave this video right there. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Cheers for now.